On June 1, 1794, two fleets found each other in the grey Atlantic west of Ushant. To British newspapers, the battle would become the glorious 1st of June. Lord Howe's ships had broken through the French line, battered enemy vessels, and carried prizes home. To the French Republic, the same week told a different story. Its battle fleet had drawn danger away from a grain convoy that France badly needed, and that convoy reached port. One battle produced two truths: a British tactical victory at sea and a French strategic success measured in bread. The fight belonged to the first years of the French Revolutionary Wars. France was at war with Britain and much of Europe, while revolution at home had torn through old institutions, officer corps, and political loyalties. The French Atlantic ports needed food. A large convoy was coming from America with grain, escorted across a dangerous ocean. Britain, with the Royal Navy as its main weapon, wanted to intercept commerce, strain the Republic, and keep French sea power under pressure. The Atlantic was not empty water. It was the supply road on which armies, cities, and political survival depended. Lord Howe commanded the British Channel Fleet. He was an experienced officer, cautious in some respects but willing to force a decisive engagement when the chance appeared. Opposite him, Louis Thomas Villaret de Joyeuse commanded the French fleet. He faced a difficult assignment: protect the ocean route of the grain convoy while avoiding destruction by a navy trained to seek close action. The French crews included able seamen, but revolutionary upheaval had disrupted discipline, command traditions, and experience. The British fleet also carried burdens: weather, distance, signals, and the limits of coordinating wooden ships under sail. For days before June 1st, the fleets maneuvered through fog, scattered visibility, and intermittent contact. This mattered because age-of-sail battle was not a simple collision. Commanders needed wind position, signaling room, and a line that could hold long enough to deliver heavy broadsides. Ships could vanish in haze, misunderstand flags, or lose station after damage to masts and rigging. Howe's aim was to bring the French fleet to close battle, preferably by cutting through its line so British ships could fire into vulnerable sterns and bows. Villaret Joyeuse's aim was survival with purpose: keep the British engaged away from the convoy's path. When the battle opened in earnest, the sea filled with smoke, shouted orders, splintering oak, and the harsh geometry of lines under sail. British ships bore down toward the French formation, but execution varied from vessel to vessel. Some captains broke the line and engaged closely. Others were slowed by damage, wind, or misread signals. The image of neat textbook maneuver dissolves quickly when canvas is torn, wheels are smashed, officers fall, and ships drift into each other's smoke. The battle was planned in lines, but it was experienced as fragments: one deck, one gun crew, one mast, one enemy hull looming through powder haze. The fighting was ferocious. Several French ships were captured, and one, the Vengeur du Pupil, sank after brutal damage, becoming a symbol in French revolutionary memory. British ships suffered heavily as well, with masts and rigging cut apart and crews killed or wounded at their guns. Casualty numbers vary by source and category, but the human cost was severe on both sides. Naval victory in this era was not clean. A captured ship was a prize, but it was also a floating hospital, a wrecked workplace, and evidence of men asked to serve strategy with their bodies. By the end of the day, Howe could claim the visible signs of victory. The British had taken French ships and held the battlefield. The Royal Navy celebrated the action as proof that it could still dominate fleet combat against revolutionary France. Public ceremonies, promotions, paintings, and later memory turned the event into a national triumph. Yet the story did not end with prizes. The grain convoy, the object around which much of the campaign had revolved, escaped British capture and arrived in France. Villaret Joyeuse had lost ships but preserved the cargo that the Republic needed. That ambiguity is what makes the glorious 1st of June more than a patriotic label. It reveals how naval warfare can separate tactical and strategic success. The British won the battle in the traditional fleet sense: damage inflicted, ships captured, honor secured. The French achieved a strategic objective by protecting the convoy route at a moment when food supply mattered to domestic stability and war-making power. Each side told the part of the truth that served its politics. British victory emphasized command and fighting power. French memory emphasized sacrifice for the Republic and the arrival of grain. The battle also shows the transition between old naval aristocracy and revolutionary mass politics. Wooden ships, sails, broadsides, and prize-taking belonged to an older maritime world. But the stakes were modern: national mobilization, public opinion, economic blockade, state survival, and ideological war. Howe and Villaret-Joyeuse fought with 18th-century ships inside a conflict that was already changing Europe. The Atlantic became a theater where food, finance, politics, and military tradition met under gun smoke. Today, the glorious 1st of June is best understood as a battle with two ledgers. One ledger lists captured ships, damaged fleets, commanders, honors, and the Royal Navy's confidence. The other ledger lists convoy protection, French endurance, and the fact that a strategic cargo reached the hungry Republic. History is often clearest when we hold both ledgers at once. On June 1, 1794, the British won glory in battle. The French saved the convoy. And the Atlantic reminded both powers that victory at sea is measured not only by ships taken, but by what the fighting makes possible afterward.